All right, today, we're not just talking about some simple scam. We are going to dissect a global criminal industry, one that operates with the efficiency of a multinational corporation and the brutality of a human trafficking ring. This is pig butchering, and it's basically a form of industrialized psychological warfare that starts in the most ordinary way you can possibly imagine. It all starts with something this innocent, a simple text message, right? Looks like a wrong number. But this single text is the carefully crafted entry point. It's the first knock on the door before a devastating home invasion that doesn't just steal your stuff, but your entire life savings. So, how does that one little text spiral into complete financial ruin? Well, it starts with a conversation. But as we're about to see, it's not a conversation at all. It's a meticulously planned script. And here you can see that script in action. What's so chilling is the timeline. This isn't some quick con. The scammer you see there on the left spends weeks, sometimes even months, building what feels like a genuine, deep connection. They'll share personal stories, they listen, they become a trusted friend, or maybe even a romantic partner. In their own horrible terms, they're fattening the pig, grooming their target before the slaughter. Okay, so here's where the story takes a really, really disturbing turn. The person on the other end of that phone, the one who's building that intimate connection with you, they are very often not a willing criminal. In fact, they're a prisoner. You heard that right. The people sending these messages are frequently victims of human trafficking themselves. They're lured from all over Asia and Africa with these promises of high-paying tech jobs, only to arrive and have their passports taken away. They are then forced to run these scams from inside fortified compounds, under the constant threat of violence, torture, or even worse. This whole thing makes pig butchering a crisis of modern slavery too. This personal horror is all enabled by a massive physical infrastructure. So let's go inside what I'm calling the scam factory. We are talking about these sprawling, heavily guarded compounds, like the notorious KK Park in Myanmar. These are basically purpose-built cities for industrial-scale fraud, complete with their own dormitories, canteens, and yes, punishment rooms. They are totally self-contained and designed for one reason: to keep thousands of forced laborers in and the outside world out. And this just perfectly illustrates the conditions inside. People are enduring 17-hour days in these massive boiler rooms. They're watched constantly. If they underperform, if they don't meet their quota, or if they try to escape, they face brutal punishment. Investigative reports and survivor testimonies have even detailed things like illegal organ harvesting. This isn't a job, it is a nightmare that the only way out of is paying an impossibly large contract termination fee. So how do these captive workers, using this highly refined script, achieve such devastating results? Well, it all comes down to a calculated 3-stage psychological playbook. See, this isn't random. It is a repeatable process. First, they find their targets. Then comes that long grooming or fattening phase we talked about, building that absolutely unshakable trust. And then finally, you get the slaughter, where the scammer leverages all that trust to guide the victim onto a totally fraudulent investment platform. And if the victim ever hesitates, or tries to withdraw their money, the pressure escalates dramatically. The friendly confidant just disappears, and they're replaced by threats. As this victim recalls, they suddenly start facing these fake tax bills and accusations of tax evasion, all of it designed to create sheer panic and force them to send even more money to fix a problem that doesn't even exist. And those threats are all backed up by this, the key weapon in the slaughter phase. These fake apps and websites look incredibly sophisticated, incredibly legitimate. They show the victim's initial investment generating these huge, consistent profits. But it's all an illusion. The numbers you see on that screen are completely fabricated, designed to build confidence and convince the victim to pour in their entire life savings. So once the money is sent, where does it all go? Well, it vanishes into a high-tech global money laundering machine that's built for speed and anonymity. The financial vehicle of choice is a really specific type of cryptocurrency, USDT, also known as Tether, operating on the TRON network. Now, why that one? Because it's pegged to the US dollar, which means its value is stable. But more importantly for criminals, the transactions are incredibly fast, they're cheap, and they are much, much harder for law enforcement to trace compared to traditional banking. So the crucial point here is how quickly the money just disappears. The victim wires cash to a legitimate crypto exchange, it's immediately converted to USDT and sent to the scammer's wallet. From there, it gets funneled through these shadowy over-the-counter brokers. These are private services that swap huge amounts of crypto for cash off the public market or other criminal marketplaces where it's swapped back into cash, completely breaking the financial trail. And look, this isn't just speculation. In early 2024, the U.S. Treasury officially designated a key player in this whole ecosystem, the Huione Group, as a primary money laundering concern. This group operated a marketplace that was basically a one-stop shop for scammers, helping them launder billions in stolen crypto. All right, let's zoom out one last time to really fully grasp the terrifying scale of what this has become. A multi-billion-dollar global industry. $10 billion. That is the U.S. Treasury's estimate for how much was stolen from Americans in just the last year alone. This is one of the largest illicit transfers of wealth in modern history, moving money directly from the pockets of ordinary people to transnational criminal organizations. Just look at this chart. This is not a static problem. It's a crisis that is growing exponentially. The profits are so vast that these criminal syndicates are constantly scaling up, they're refining their techniques, and they are expanding their operations. And the cost is measured in so much more than just money. It's measured in the tens of thousands of trafficked workers who are trapped in these compounds. Now, law enforcement efforts like the FBI's Operation Level Up are making a dent, sure, but they're only catching a tiny fraction of the total. And all the while, these syndicates are already globalizing, setting up new operations all around the world. This leaves us with a critical and, honestly, a pretty terrifying question. When you have a criminal enterprise that combines sophisticated psychological warfare with modern-day slavery and bleeding-edge financial technology, all operating on a global scale, what on earth will it take to finally stop it?